Wednesday, October the 5th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Now, lots to talk about. We're going to focus on Matthew here and now. The details coming up in just a moment. There's the 5:30 a.m. temperatures across the region. Kind of a cool but relatively quiet early October morning for most of the Carolinas. A little bit warmer along the coast. There's 74 in Cape Hatteras. Now, as we go through the day today, there will be some showers close to the coast. This has nothing to do with Matthew. This is due to a stalled frontal boundary there near the coast, keeping some showers over in that direction. All right, so let's get right into it. And first of all, I'll start off with a watch and warning situation. Purple outlined areas, those are hurricane warnings that are in effect for Cuba, parts of actually most of Haiti still, then up through the western Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and now you have these watch and warnings that are required for parts of Florida, tropical storm watches and warnings out, and hurricane watches and warnings as well for parts of Florida. And this is just due to the approach of Matthew. Let me show you the satellite presentation of Matthew. It is in a bit of a degraded state. In fact, let me go ahead and pull up this chart right here, this satellite loop right here. There we go. And Matthew looking a little bit rougher now after moving across western Haiti, but especially eastern Cuba. That's what kind of did a number on the system. So it is in somewhat of a weakened state now, but still a powerhouse hurricane, still a Category 3 hurricane with 125-mile-per-hour sustained winds. Pressure up to 962, and what the deal is here is through the Bahamas, the water temperatures are very, very warm. The shear is light, and so I think you're going to see that pressure lowering again as the inner core of Matthew gets reorganized, and probably the wind speeds will trickle up a bit too as this moves through the Bahamas. I maintain this is going to be a really rough hurricane for the Bahamas. Major hurricane tracking basically northwest through the entire Bahamas chain, and that's going to be a pretty significant problem. Thereafter, Friday, this tracks very close to the Florida coast. This is the National Hurricane Center forecast. And so during today, Friday, you have a major hurricane tracking either on or extremely close to the Florida Atlantic coast. And then we see a sharp right-hand turn occur. And there's again, the official National Hurricane Center forecast. And this is, I'll tell you what, going to be really, really challenging with this forecast. Watch the computer model tracks here. There it comes to the northwest, and then again, notice that sharp right-hand turn that does occur on most of the modeling. This could very well mean an improved scenario for the North Carolina coast, but it still looks pretty rough further to the south. This is the European model. There goes the system moving on or near the Atlantic coast of Florida. And from there, this continues to move up near the Carolina coast, but just offshore. Closest to the South Carolina coast, and then you see that bend to the southeast occurring. So on that track, you wind up with rain totals that look like that off the European model. Almost a foot of rain in Charleston, but less than an inch for the I-85 corridor. Now, let me show you a lot of the modeling. Again, I'm going to throw a lot of charts at you here, so just kind of bear with me. Let's take a look at, first of all, what's going to cause that turn. There's a look at the European model. This is valid Sunday morning. And so there goes the system offshore. It's getting kicked offshore by this trough. But what happens is this trough does not dig quite enough to completely pick up Matthew and lift it up the coast. And so Matthew kind of gets deflected back off to the southeast. And so by 100, well, let's see, I'm sorry, this is the previous run. So yeah, that's right. I wanted to show you what happened. This was yesterday's run. And this trough dug enough, and Matthew was just a little bit quicker with its forward speed, and so it actually got captured. And up the coast it went. This is Sunday morning on yesterday's European. Let's take a look at today's Sunday morning, and there it is. So again, there's yesterday's run, and here's today's run. And it's just that orientation of the incoming trough that makes the difference in the speed of Matthew a little bit slower on the most recent run, and so you really don't see that trough capture it. And it's the similar scenario on the GFS modeling as well. So let me step you through that. All right, here is the GFS. Let me see if I can reposition these where you can see a little better. This is the GFS valid Thursday evening, Friday morning near the Florida coast, Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and then there that turn to the right, that hard right-hand turn occurs. And so, again, let's look at the wind fields on the GFS as a, for instance, again, this is one run of one model here. But, all right, so here we are, and this is valid Saturday morning. This is Saturday evening. So the roughest winds offshore from the Carolina coast. And then this is Sunday, early afternoon. That's all an offshore flow as Matthew begins to pull away. Now, I want to show you the UK Met model because it was the first one that picked up on this further west trend that developed when everything else was kind of keeping this well out to sea. This is this is Friday morning, rather, in agreement with the other modeling, pretty close to the Space Coast. And then this takes us up to near Savannah in the Georgia coast Friday evening. From there, it does lift up the coast to just offshore from Myrtle Beach and Wilmington by Saturday evening, and then it too kind of makes that right-hand turn in a weakened state thereafter. And I do need to mention this. Again, the GFS does make that right-hand turn, and it ends up, this is all the way out at next Tuesday, and then next Wednesday, this is making another run through the Bahamas, and then towards South Florida Thursday of next week. That's a week from now, week plus from now. I just want to show you that hard right-hand turn that's occurring on some of the modeling. Here's the European, just to throw that at you. This is Friday morning, and this is early Saturday, wee hours of Saturday morning. And then there's that right-hand turn occurring back down toward the Bahamas as we get into the middle of next week. A couple of the hurricane-specific models. This is the GFDL. There it goes through the Bahamas and very near the Space Coast thereafter. And there's the GFDL missing the Carolina coast off to the southeast. Hurricane Wharf finally, again, just offshore the Space Coast. And then finally, just offshore the Carolina coast over the weekend. So what does all this mean? Throwing a lot of stuff at you here. The bottom line is, let me get it to a chart. Oh, and I can just show you on the Canadian model here. All right, so this is the Canadian model valid Friday evening and then Saturday morning. It is more of the traditional track that we had been seeing on previous runs. So it's held on to that scenario where the trough is sharp enough to capture it, and then up the coast it goes over the weekend. That scenario is a possibility, but I think it's a less likely scenario. I think what you're likely going to see here is something, well, sorry about that, is something where you see the system lift near the Florida coast, probably near or just offshore for the Georgia and South Carolina coast, and then that right-hand turn probably occurs. So for the Outer Banks, you may actually not have too terrible of a go with it if this scenario is correct. But the further south you go along the coast, the more rough it is. All right, just to show you, there's the GFS rain totals from the 0Z run. All right, so back to the weather locally very quickly. A lot of cloud cover today. Temperatures held in check. There's our Wednesday afternoon highs. Cooler than we have been due to clouds and northeasterly flows. Same deal for tomorrow, too. A lot of cloud cover with us as Thursday rolls along, and there's your Thursday high temperatures. Friday, that's when we begin to see the chance for some rain spreading into the interior Carolinas as Matthew gets closer to the coast. And again, temperatures definitely held down on Friday. And we're going to see as we get on into the weekend exactly how much of that rain can make it further to the northwest. A lot of moving pieces here. We'll continue to refine the forecast. Of course, full tropical updates for you, 21 and 51 minutes past every hour on Time Warner Cable News. And I'll keep you up to date as I can on the social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. All right, everybody have a great day, and God bless.